Welcome back. Flint City Council has less than a week to pass its budget for the next fiscal year after failing to do so last night. Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely weighing in, releasing the following statement. He says, quote, "We hope that the Flint City Council will set politics aside and put Flint residents first by following the letter of the law and passing this vital budget to continue to move the Flint community forward," end quote. Joining us now with more on last night's vote and what's next is Candace Mushat. She's Vice President of the Flint City Council. And Councilwoman Mushat, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So it was a 5-4 vote, and the majority, those who were against the budget, they won because the budget did not pass. Tell us about that process last night.
So it was interesting. We all had an opportunity to weigh in on the budget. The whole point of the special meeting last night was to discuss the budget and get it passed. And so if there were any concerns about what was in the budget or if there was something missing from the budget, last night was an opportunity for all of us to speak on that.
Now, is this the original budget that the mayor presented to council or proposed to council, or were there some amendments by council in this budget?
So this last night, what was presented to us was the original balanced budget that the mayor did present for us. And like I said, we had opportunities last night to make any adjustments should there have been any that we thought needed to be made.
Were there any amendments made?
So there was only one amendment, and that was made by our finance chair, Judy Priestley, and it was for the ombudsperson's office. We could not come to an agreement on that amendment as well, and so we ended up having to go back to the budget that was presented, and that's what we voted on, was the original budget that was presented.
And that's the one that failed?
Yes.
And what appears to be the major sticking points in getting this budget, when you go back to last night's meeting and your colleagues, what were they saying in that meeting about why this was not a good budget or they couldn't support the budget?
So the only things that really stuck out, one thing that stuck out was one of my colleagues had a complaint that they didn't believe it was a good enough snapshot of the city's budget moving forward. They did not necessarily elaborate on that in a way that I can remember, but that was one of the things that stuck out last night.
June 3rd is the deadline per the charter.
Yes.
And that's coming up on Monday. What are the consequences if the city does not pass a balanced budget for the next fiscal year? How does that impact residents?
So the biggest consequence is, one, we will be in violation of the charter. And that affects residents in the fact that we took an oath to that charter, which means we took an oath to the residents that we would abide by those rules and everything that's inside that charter. So we would be breaking our oath to the residents, essentially. And then also, you have to look at city services. A lot of things are hanging in the balance here, right? Mm-hmm. It's summertime. So when we talk about blight and taking care of that blight elimination, when we talk about police services, you know,
and
we have
fire.
an uptick. Yes, and we definitely have an uptick in fires in the summertime. And so there are a lot of crucial services that affect our everyday lives and the residents' everyday lives that we really need to go ahead and get this passed for.
So you can't fund one fiscal year with last year's fiscal budget.
Correct.
It has to be, you have to adopt a new budget. So what's next? There needs to be a meeting, I'm thinking, as a lay person on the outside looking in. I think this body of 9 needs to meet at some point, I guess, before Monday.
I agree. Per the charter, we have the first Monday in June, so we absolutely need to handle the city's business and make sure we're taking care of the residents.
Okay, any meetings scheduled?
As of right now, there are no meetings scheduled, but I will be in attendance for a meeting, any meeting that gets scheduled. I will be in attendance to show up for the residents of the city of Flint and to show up for what we took an oath to in the charter. Absolutely, I would be in agreement with that.
All right, thanks for shedding some light on this for us, Councilwoman Mushat.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and of course, we're going to continue to monitor this situation. Thank you.
Thank you.